Hello, and welcome to the Infinite Love Podcast. This is a place where we share how love can transform negative emotions and pain into strength. We talk about all things related to love, positivity, and kindness. And I am your host, Corinne Camara. Welcome to episode 4, From Sexual Dysfunction to Pleasure. Today we are talking to Susan Bratton, who is an intimacy wellness expert and a champion and advocate for all those who desire intimacy and passion their whole life long. She's a best-selling author and publisher of lovemaking techniques, bedroom communication skills, and sexual vitality advice, including Sexual Soulmates and Relationship Magic. She has written over 34 books and programs. Susan is an expert in intimacy wellness, sexual regenerative protocols, and ageless sexuality. You can find the Susan Bratton Show on betterlover.com. For her more personal posts, you can find her at Instagram at Susan Bratton, and you can also find more information about sexual vitality supplements at the20store.com. Hi, Susan. I am so excited to have you on the Infinite Love Podcast, and welcome.
Hi, Corinne. I am so happy to be talking about infinite love and infinite orgasms and infinite pleasure and infinite connection. What a better place to be than right here with you, my girl.
So I love to start out with learning about your love lesson. And a love lesson is essentially something that happened in your life or an experience that brought you a place inside yourself where you had to go deep and find a certain level of transformation. And in that transformation, you use that to help others.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I knew you were going to ask me. I was with, I won't say what friend, I'll just say a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And a couple of days ago, a mutual friend said, "How's our mutual friend?" And I said, "Oh God, I don't know. I guess she's fine. It's just this never-ending situation where she's always on the verge of leaving her husband, but she never does it." And I took 2 really good runs at being like, "It's time for you to go. You got to get out of this relationship. You have never been happy in a decade." And she doesn't go because she's adopted. And so she has this core wound of abandonment. And so it just feels wrong for her to leave. And it took me a decade of being like, "Oh no, it's fine. It'll get better. Keep working on it," to "Go, it's time to go." And like really trying to get her to leave her husband. And I saw her a couple nights ago and I said, when our mutual friend asked how you're doing, and I went, "Oh God, I don't know. It's always one thing or another with her." And right. I'm telling her this, and I was like, "I don't know what to do about you," but I came to the conclusion that you have not given your heart to your husband in a decade of being with him. And you have basically been playing it so small. And why won't you commit to a relationship? Always right on the edge of falling apart. Like, what game are you playing? And I said, "I can say this to you, level of confidence, the same bullshit I pulled with my husband. I married him when I was 31 years old, and it wasn't until I was 49 years old that I started to fully love my husband." It was some bullshit game that I was playing where I was like holding back. And my core wound was not feeling safe. My number one need I have in relationship is to feel safe. My husband always made me feel safe, but I could never fully surrender myself to him and my love for him because I was so afraid that if I became reliant on him and I really loved him and anything happened, I couldn't live through it.
Right.
It's like the stupidest thing. And so I said to my girlfriend, "The only reason I can yell at you is because I had to yell at myself and be like, what is your problem? Commit to your husband. Open your freaking heart up. Like, what are you protecting?" And tears just started coming out of her eyes. Like, she knew Oh,
Mm.
yeah, man, what am I doing? Like I said, if he hasn't left you yet and you've basically been a bitch for a decade, he's not leaving you. So why don't you just be nice to him and fully embrace him and feed him and make love to him and be a great wife now, because you're not going to leave him. So why put us all through this misery? And so when you ask that question about infinite love and
Mm.
the lessons that we've learned, one of the
Right.
things that I think is we all withhold love for
Mm.
various reasons and coping mechanisms. And there are
Absolutely.
two perfectly good examples of stupid things two intelligent women have done to make their life worse instead of better. And when I fully committed to my husband,
Mm-hmm.
I always loved him. We always had a great relationship. We've had our ups, we've had our downs.
Right.
But now my life is so much more wonderful knowing
Mm.
that he has my full committed heart.
Oh, I love that. And it's so
Good.
true. It's so
Yeah.
true. I've experienced that myself in relationships. It's true. Like holding back love, and I think that's one of my core wounds is not feeling that I'm lovable,
Yeah, that's a common
and
one.
feeling like my parents never loved me, like no one loves me, and because no one loves me, I'm gonna withhold my love for the pain because of the pain I may feel if you decide to reject me at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I know. It's crazy what we do, all the coping that we do
I
around
know.
lack of self worth, lack of getting enough love. Like, we just need to fix that stuff. And awareness is how you fix it. And so, if anybody who is watching us heard the story of my friend, the story of me, the story of you, and goes, ooh, where am I playing my love small? How could I play my
Mm-hmm.
love bigger? What could I do to feel more love? One of my mentors, Dr. Deborah Anapol, she has since passed. She wrote a book called The Seven Natural Laws of Love or something like that. It's on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. It's a fantastic, slim little book. It's my favorite book to give for Valentine's Day. And what she said is that you can't really, you actually don't have the experience of feeling love as intensely as you do when you're giving love. If you want to
Absolutely.
feel more love,
You
give
give
more
more
love.
love. Mm-hmm.
When because I'm a sexpert, basically I'm a sexpert, and that always has its hooks in relationship and health and communication
Mm-hmm.
and lovemaking techniques, and it's a what I like to call a very wide playing field. um, I have to know a lot about relationship. I'm not a therapist. I'm a sexpert. I'm a sex technique expert and sexual health expert. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Bedroom communication skills, things like that. But when, I have both singles and people in relationships who follow me. And so over the last 15 years, being kind of like a Dear Abby of sex, I get a million questions. And one of the questions that I often get, especially from singles, is I don't feel like I will ever be loved. I've
Oh.
never had a
Mm-hmm.
relationship where I've felt loved. And I
Yeah.
say to those people, oh, you better start practicing loving, because that's how you feel it. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
attract love into your life, you start loving everyone. You start doing
Right.
philanthropy. You start loving your family and your friends and the people you work with. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, you're attracting love because you are love. If you
Mm-hmm.
wait for love to find you, it doesn't show up. You've got to
Right.
give. You got to be a love beam. And that's what Deborah Anapol really taught me, was
Oh,
to feel love, give love.
absolutely. 100,000%. I absolutely agree with that. Would you say that's the same with sex? Like being able to be a good sexual partner and being able to have a fulfilling sexual life? Is it, in your opinion, how you work with people, is it really about giving pleasure in order to receive the pleasure that you seek?
It's not. That's an
Oh,
interest. Oh, nobody ever asked me that question. No, it's the opposite. It's interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Men are biologically driven to do a good job and give pleasure because they're competitive. We women are the deciders about sex. Now, I want to preface all of our conversations in this next, 45 minutes that we have together to say that I'm going to say man, I'm going to say woman, I'm going to say the masculine, I'm going to say the feminine. I am a full supporter of the gender spectrum, gender
Yeah.
fluidity, he, her, she, him, they, us, we, anything you want to call, any way you want to be, I am down with it and in full support of it. But generally, in a short conversation, I must generalize. So I will say man and woman. And if you are same-sex partners or gender spectrum partners, you just have to think, translate that to masculine, feminine polarity, you know, just like the yin and the yang, right? You just want it to be like the tension, the magnetic, creative wonderfulness of the opposite attraction.
Okay.
So let me just throw that down right away, so she's not like, well, that was all good for heterosexual people, well, what the hell about me, you know? So I just want to
thank you for that.
So because women are generally, and women are, the feminine is generally the decider of when sex happens, and because we are a rather inscrutable, you know, gender, men know that every shot they get at sex, they have to do a great job. And so often they will have the mindset of, I'm going to give her, you know, like she comes first. She comes first is wrong. That's not the right way to do it. Because what happens is when you put all your attention on making her feel pleasure, then you're putting all this pressure on her. You're doing her instead of being with her. And you're not giving her the benefit of your pleasure and the pleasure that she's creating in you. So when guys, and it is almost always guys, are like up in their head strategizing, well, maybe if I do the alphabet on her clitoris, or I whatever, you know, if they're in their heads, they're not with you in connection. They're distracted and they're holding themselves back. So what I say is, learn all the skills. Techniques are really important. You have to have a lot of moves, both the masculine, feminine, everybody. The more pleasuring techniques you know that effortlessly roll out of you and you feel endlessly creative, that makes you good. The easier it is for your partner to ask for what they want and for you to happily give it to them, no matter what it is, that you're just fluid and graceful and easy and, you know, hey, babe, whatever you want in this moment is good with me. Let's do it. That creates ease and grace. And then it allows you to get out of the future or the past where you're catastrophizing and worrying, and it allows you to be present and just co-creating joy. And that's why when people say, you know, it's all about her, you know, it's like, oh, dude, I would never want to have sex with you if you were just always just trying to make me have an orgasm. Like that's like junior level sex 101. Let's get you to mastery level. Here's what mastery level looks like.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I didn't know that. That's something new.
Good.
So in terms of women that are single, that are looking to, because I talk a lot about energy and how like the sacral chakra and utilizing your sexuality in terms of creativity. And I really think it's important for people to utilize their sexual energy, even if it's not necessarily with a partner. How do you talk about energy and sexuality with people that don't necessarily have partners?
Well, your sexual energy is your life force, is your vitality, is your creativity. So if you don't have a partner, consider having a solo pleasuring practice. And I have like a treasure chest of different sex toys. G-spot wands and vibrators and the big magic wand and all kinds of stuff. And whenever I'm feeling a little down, a little exhausted, a little disconnected, a little depressed, a little anxious, a little distracted, one of the ways to ground myself is through self-pleasuring. And the more that you self-pleasure, the better your orgasms get. And the more orgasms you have, the better you are at having them. It's just, you get on this upward pleasure spiral of love and self-love and self-pleasure. So anyone who feels like, well, I don't have a sex life, I just say, well, it's always available to you. You have it. just start.
Yeah.
Because when you're having great orgasms and you're feeling sexy and you're dressing sexy and you're
Mm-hmm.
walking with a little swagger and
Yes.
you're flirting with people and you're full of zest and energy, then you're just going to attract that person who's like, tell me about that girl. That girl looks like she'd be fun to be with. Wow.
Right.
Right? So it's self-cultivated.
Yes, you definitely create that magnetism.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. And how do you work with clients, or do you do more like as a sex expert, it's more like coaching, right?
I don't do any coaching at
Oh, you
all.
don't? Oh, okay.
No, I have a different business model. So I actually am the CEO of 2 companies and I'm the face of our brands.
Okay.
And we have about 20 of us that run, that are running the businesses.
Hmm.
And our team runs 2 businesses together.
Nice.
And I'm in business with my husband of almost 30 years. And we've been in business together for 15 years. And he's
Wow.
amazing to work with. And he's really good at the numbers and keeping the trains running on time and
Hmm.
managing the tech and making sure everybody's paid on time and all that stuff. And I'm really good at the content creation, the deal doing, the revenue generation, the big picture, the strategy, the future, the plans. So he's like everything right now, day to day, making it happen. And I'm like, where are we going? What's going
Vision.
on? Who's
Yeah.
doing what? So it's very complementary. And he's really been the wind beneath my wings in so many ways of constantly encouraging me to live into my potential and always
Mhm.
supporting me in that way as I have him. And we have 2 businesses. The first is a publishing company.
Okay.
And we started it 15 years ago, and we publish passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills. So
Hmm.
they're online home study courses for singles and for lovers. So
Nice.
like we just had a big sales event for our Steamy Sex Ed video collection. It's 8 videos that show sensual massage, erotic massage, oral pleasuring, and love-making techniques for primarily heterosexual monogamous couples. That's kind of the mass market and who are mostly our customer is. And
Okay.
it's like 200 heart-connected love-making techniques. And you can watch them together and you can practice the techniques on each other so that you get this kind of portfolio of
Hmm.
skills. So that's an example of one. We also have orgasm techniques like Expand Her Orgasm Tonight, which is the orgasmic meditation couples practice. We have Female Liquid Orgasm, which is G-spot pleasuring, G-spot healing, and female ejaculation.
Hmm.
And it's for singles or couples. So there's self-pleasuring as well as couple pleasuring, how
Yeah.
to do it. We
Okay.
have programs like Keep Her Coming, Revive Her Drive, Relationship Magic, Seduce Her Tonight, the Seduction Trilogy. I don't know. There's so many. I can't even remember all the names of them. And so
Yeah.
those are online programs that singles and couples receive an audio, video, and ebook, and then they learn sex techniques or sex communication skills. And then we have a supplement company called The 20, and that's where we have our libido supplements and our blood flow supplements. And they're
Oh, right.
organic, natural
Hmm.
supplements because I studied libido for a long time as a part of what I do. And what I realized is that for a lot of women, they're like, oh, my libido is shot and my hormones must be a mess. And I tell women it's really not your hormones
Mm.
necessarily. I mean, yes, when your estrogen declines as you go through menopause,
Yeah.
you do have thinning of vaginal mucosa, so your vagina gets thin and more sensitive.
Sensitive. Yeah.
But you can a lot of that is actually a loss of nitric oxide. So you're not producing the blood flow to your pelvic bowl that you used to bring the lubrication in. So
Hmm.
when women think, oh, it's estrogen, I say a lot of times it's not estrogen, it's actually nitric oxide. Just take a nitric oxide supplement, you'll see your lubrication come back. But the
Yeah.
tissue does get thin as you age. And I used to recommend like lasers,
Yeah.
CO2 lasers and things like that, but I don't anymore. What I recommend is the V-Fit, which is a red
Oh, right. Heard
light
that.
intralaser intravaginal device, red light intravaginal device that
Hmm.
really helps rebuild the vaginal tissue back up. So you don't have to go like lasering off your tissue and damaging it just to get it to repair. You can actually just get it to repair without the damage. So I really
Nice.
like that these days. That's a good combination for women who are, over 40.
Okay. I'm creeping up there. So
Yeah.
what drew you to this world of healthy sexual intimacy? Like what made you go into this line of work?
Well, I was a Silicon Valley executive,
Okay.
and my husband and I grew apart. Our intimate life kind of fell apart. We got
Mhm.
so busy working. And honestly, I just didn't, I really struggled to have orgasms
Okay.
in in my early in my 30s and 40s, and I never had orgasms from intercourse. And after having sex with my husband for a decade and not having orgasms from it, I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm,
And we didn't have the skills to know what to do to actually make that work. So we decided that we could either get divorced or we could learn how to have orgasms from intercourse. Like that was really what it was coming down to. It was like I didn't want to have sex with them because it wasn't fun for me anymore.
right.
And we took a bunch of tantric workshops, and I was like, oh my God, it's this easy to have orgasms? I had no idea. Nobody tells you what to do. And
Right.
I said to my husband, let's start a company where you don't have to go to a sex workshop and take your clothes off and feel all weird and have a panic attack and just to learn to have orgasms. Let's create online programs where anyone anywhere in the world who's like, I want to have an orgasm can learn how. And that's how we ended up falling in love with each other again,
Mhm.
having the best sex of our lives, having our sex lives keep getting better because we learned simple skills that nobody was teaching anybody. There was basically like nothing or porn. And porn
Right.
is so degrading to women. I can't stand it. I don't like it at all. I think it's terrible. It's ruining generations of people's sex lives.
It's terrible.
So we started the company together as an outgrowth of us learning that sex is actually really fun and really easy if someone just tells you what to do.
Well, they're supposed to in sex ed, right? When we're in high
No,
school,
I
but
think sex ed is like the political agenda of the religious right to keep
yes.
us from having sex and scaring the crap out of us. Like,
I was
you'll get pregnant. Semen is evil. I mean, semen is God's gift to women. In all honesty, it has
yeah.
over 20 amazing things in it, from luteinizing hormones to serotonin to the testosterone that gives us confidence. So
I
semen
was
is
being facetious, by the
fantastic.
way.
Oh, I know you were. I know you were. I'm soaking in it right now. No
Yeah, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, so sex ed was kind of interesting. I was like,
that'll ruin you for
huh.
life. You got to work
I
really hard to get out from underneath that. That's a lot
well,
of guilt and shame.
well, I thought it was fascinating because I always been fascinated with nuns. So I actually had the conversation with the nun that was teaching us offline, and I actually asked her if she's ever had sex, and she told me she was a virgin. And I was
Yeah.
like, so how are you teaching sex ed if you've never experienced it? And she pretty much said, you don't need to know what ice cream tastes like if you've never had it. Like you can still talk about it. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And it was interesting. It was just an interesting conversation.
As an antidote to that nun, I call myself an orgasmonaut. I have studied and had so many kinds of incredible orgasms. I feel like my job as a sexpert is to have the map to the territory as far out as you can possibly imagine going, and then come back and show you what's possible. So I've studied all the different kinds of ways you can orgasm, different types of orgasms, orgasmic stimulation, orgasmic possibility, and it's incredible what our bodies can do.
Do you often go into the spiritual aspect there's a whole conversation? I think Tantra talks about it too, like having extreme orgasms to connect to the divine or connect to source or connect to spirit.
Yes, one of our programs is called Expand Her Orgasm Tonight. I'll give you a copy of it if you want it. And basically, what it is a couples practice. This is one
Okay.
where you need to have a partner for it. It's a fantastic practice for partners, and it's a clitoral stroking technique. It's if you've ever heard of one taste, orgasmic
Yes.
meditation, expanded
Yeah.
orgasm, extended massive orgasm, these are all just like yoga. It's like the difference between Bikram and Kundalini and Hatha and da, 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 da. It's all
Hmm.
the same basic concept, but everybody's personal, different little flavors.
Right.
And the one taste version of it is a 15-minute genital stroking,
Hmm.
non-sexual partner practice.
Right.
My version of it with Expand Her Orgasm Tonight is a deeply heart-connected, conscious, love-making experience of a conjoined trance state of two partners who join
Hmm.
in limbic connection, and the giver takes the receiver on an orgasmic journey, but you're bound together, two sides of the same coin of that pleasure. So the giver is actually getting as much pleasure giving and taking the receiver into this expanded orgasmic dimension. And
Ooh.
when you are fully surrendered together, you can get into a kind of a trance state that is like what you would have when you were meditating and you felt the connection to source.
Hmm.
And I have done that many, many times. That is definitely one of the flavors of orgasm that's incredible and super fun. My husband and I have had an expanded orgasm practice for over 15 years,
Wow.
and we have an incredible practice together of that, and it's a beautiful part of our sex life.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is really, really nice. And so how do you work? So how do you suggest women that have gone through sexual trauma and they are disconnected from their pelvis? So I've had a few clients that
Yeah.
have that were molested or raped or something happened to them on a sexual front and they're totally disconnected from their pelvis. And
Yeah.
sex is no longer pleasurable, they can't find orgasms and they can't feel anything. How
Yeah.
would you suggest those types of women approach their sexuality in a different way that could benefit them?
Well, there's two things. The first is that you have two basic routes. The first route
Hmm.
is you can hire a therapist to help you heal those traumatic wounds, and I've definitely done that in the past because I have been abused myself.
Hmm.
And I think that gives me a lot of credibility and compassion for
Right.
people, that sex isn't just like, oh, it's all fun and you just touch this thing and it's incredible. Because for a lot of us, the fear and the body based pain that we've
Mm.
gone through is, it's always going to be with you no matter what, but you can come through it and move through it and let it go and go on to being whole. And there's two ways you can do it. You can use a therapist, or you can have your partner help you get through it. And if you use a therapist, the kind of therapist I actually recommend is called a somatic experience technique therapist, because they
Hmm.
are body-based therapists.
Yeah.
And I really like somatic experience technique. It used to be called the Peter Levine method. And
Right.
there's some very, very good somatic experience sexual healers out there. One of my favorites is over in the East Bay, right by you. Her name is Ariel Giaretto. And if you ever
Okay.
want to have her on your show, let me know. I'll introduce you.
Yeah,
I
I'd love to
have
meet her.
Okay, good. I have a series called Healing My Sexuality that I did with Ariel about how partners can help heal us.
Oh.
And that's on my YouTube channel under Susan
Hmm.
Bratton. You'll find Healing My Sexuality. And that's a 5 or 6 video series that we shot in a studio together that's free to help people understand how to approach sexual healing
Mm.
through the somatic experience technique. And then the other way is through partner touch. And the best type of thing that most people use for that is G-spot healing.
Mm. Okay.
Um, the G-spot, I hate that name G-spot because it's not a spot, first of all. Second thing, it's named after a dude and it's a vulva, which annoys me.
Right.
Yet more of the patriarchal input that I really don't appreciate. So the G-spot is actually, for your viewers, it's a tube, a spongy long tube that wraps completely around, encases your urethral canal. And your urethral canal goes from your bladder out the front of the opening above your vagina and below your clitoris. That's where your pee comes out. And that's basically what it is it's the urinary tract. And it's the wrapping around the urinary tract, and it comes down and it runs along the top of your vaginal canal before it exits out the front face of your vulva. And the thing about that particular spongy tissue is that for some reason it's connected to what's called our enteric nervous system. And a lot of our sexual trauma, the emotions and the memory are stored in the top, the top of the cave of the vaginal canal. A lot of that is holding a lot of the trauma. So when you have a partner who can give you an external vulva massage, calm your body down, you feel very safe, you're totally relaxed, and then they can go inside and they can massage that area. It'll often start out very hard and ridgy and feel stuck. And over a series of massages, if you can relax and really breathe into your pelvis and allow yourself to feel a full range of feelings with no hurry, your partner can stroke that with your feedback to relieve that tissue and open that tissue, expand it, massage it. It's like an accordion that will puff open and actually peek out of your vagina. And that tissue releases a lot of upset. You'll cry, you'll howl, you'll screech, you'll have a lot of just like weird kind of like letting go of upset expression. And over time, as it softens, it begins to feel pleasurable. And then it starts to feel incredibly pleasurable. And then it starts to feel orgasmic. And you can, over time, train your body to release female ejaculatory fluid from that stroking. And what's nice about the release of female ejaculation is that it's like an orgasm and a good cry had a baby. And so when you ejaculate, it's another level of release and let down and pushing out and birthing of your relaxation. And so it's a process of steps when you have a loving partner who's willing to do those things for you that can really help you begin to feel again, experience pleasure from your genitals again. And then you can incorporate clitoral pleasure and pleasure of the labial stimulation and all the points in the vagina, not just the top, but the bottom, the sides, everything, deep, shallow. The more that you can pleasure all of the vulvar tissue internally and externally, the more you can get the full release and then the full engorgement that brings that quality of pleasure, quality of orgasmic pleasure that you've been unable to achieve because everything's been so locked in.
Wow. I'm sure every woman would love to experience that if they haven't already.
Most people haven't, and they would like to.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much. It's I've met so many women that can't orgasm, and it's really challenging, especially as we get older.
It's easy. Well, you can definitely do it. It's a learned skill.
Oh yeah, orgasm is easy, but the step to even talk about it.
Yeah.
It's for some women, there's so much shame around it.
I just want women to know that it's right there. It's available to you. Orgasms, they're all already inside you. They just want you to let them out. Yeah, and and if you don't have a partner, you can still do that work yourself for yourself with a good G-spot vibrator and a good G-spot wand. I have, hang on, I got a free gift for you.
Okay.
Let me see what the URL is. Where is it? Is it on here? I hope it is. I think, Crappers McGee. It's
we can add it in the show notes.
Yeah, let's add it in the show notes. I think it's either G-Spot Toy or G-Spot Guide or something like that. What I did was I created a series of videos about G-spot pleasuring and
Mm-hmm.
G-spot toys, specifically for solo pleasuring and partnered pleasuring.
Okay.
And there's a couple of things that I highly recommend: a specific wand, a specific glass wand, a specific vibrator that work very, very well. I've looked at everything out there, and there's a lot of Chinese manufactured junk that's
Mm-hmm.
toxic, that you don't want anywhere near your yoni.
Mm-hmm.
And with the book comes not only a series of videos, but an explicit video that you have to click from the email to go look at. And I'm like, it's explicit. You're going to see a yoni and fingers and toys, and it's
Right.
going to ejaculate. But it shows you how to use those toys, because you can read about a million G-spot toys. Everybody does G-spot toy reviews, all this stuff. But you know what? Why don't you just show me how to use the thing without hurting myself? Because some of those toys are big, heavy tools.
Mm-hmm.
And your partner can't feel what you're feeling. And I felt it was dangerous. So I really went out of my way to make an instructional video of how to do female ejaculation using these G-spot toys. So you could do it for yourself, or you could do it with a partner, and you wouldn't get hurt.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's available. But
Oh, that's
I always warn
exciting.
people, because a lot of my
Okay.
stuff is not explicit at all. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
a PDF and some
Right.
diagrams and things like that. This one is like straight up, you're going to see what to do. But how would you know what to do if you can't see it? That was what drove me crazy. I
That's
was like, I'm
true.
just going to
That's
make
true.
this video.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask some infinite love questions.
Okay.
How do you use love in your work?
Oh, well, I basically radiate love every day, all day long, to every single person who comes in contact with me. I give
Oh,
away free advice every day to as many people who need it and want and ask for me. I hold loving thoughts in my heart for the universe collectively, as well as every individual.
mhm.
And with the exception of some really cranky political posts on my private Facebook page, which I can't help myself about. I I just try to be a love bug 24/7. I try to hug,
Yeah.
touch. I try to see the best in people. I try to
Mhm.
tell them how wonderful they are. I always tell people I love them. I always, sign off I love you. It's always love Suze. I just try to immerse myself in love.
Nice. Okay. And how do you feel that your work is used to uplift humanity?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm responsible for like 50,000 million, 100 zillion fabulous orgasms, heart connection, transformative love making, spiritual sexuality. So I have a massive impact on the positive connection of people in the universe to
Mhm.
overcome all that crazy nun crap and shitty pornography, and help people actually heart connect
Right.
in passion and pleasure. So that's pretty good.
Yes, I love it. And what does it mean for you to be a positive force of goodness in the world?
What does it mean for me? Well, I feel like I have the best job in the world, because I what I do for a living is help people make love, transform having
Mhm.
sex into making love. So like, there might be somebody who has as good a job as I do, but hardly anybody with a better one. Like, what's better than that?
It
So
is a
I
great
feel
job.
I created my universe.
Mhm.
My universe is how I want it, so that I am a love vehicle and a connection vehicle.
Mhm.
I'm very lucky. All my team that does all the tech behind me and gets everybody paid, does all the stuff and produces all the videos. And oh my God, there's builds all the websites and books all my publicity, and promotes all the stuff. I mean, like,
Mhm.
I'm so lucky that I'm the love generator, and I've
Right.
got all these people who love me and want to support me in doing that. Super, super lucky.
That's great. Okay. So, what do you love most about your life? I think you mentioned it already, but
that my time is my own, that I
Mm-hmm.
choose everything that I want to do and I don't have to do anything I don't like to do. That I have the ability to live a very healthy life, that I get to eat well and I'm well taken care of. I'm surrounded by my family and the love of my friends and family.
Mm,
Um, that I'm there's no drudgery in my life other than
oh, that's
maybe like
beautiful.
scrubbing some pots from dinner and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like there's no bad for me. But I'm also 59 years old and I've worked my butt off my whole life and I've contributed insane amounts of my personal energy into the universe. So, I don't, I guess I want to always temper my success and my joy in my humble beginnings and my hard work.
Yeah. How do you feel you receive love?
Ooh, hugs, foot rubs. I love like having my husband takes me for a swim every day in the ocean.
Nice.
My daughter gives me hugs in the morning. Her boyfriend will do anything I ask, like, honey, can you carry this thing for me? Yeah. Like anything.
Oh, sweet.
I'm just surrounded by people who just love to love me. My mom and I text every single day. My stepmom and I text every single day. My best friend and I talk constantly. I got lots of friends. We have a little kitty cat who's super cute and is like fuzzing me up to get me to feed her.
Yeah,
I'm good. I've got good stuff going on.
that's really such a blessing. And where has love created a miracle in your life?
Oh man, a million miracles. Like there's I would say what love has done has made me have to pick and choose the incredible opportunities that come my way because I magnetically attract so much abundance that I can't do it all. I mean, there is the physical realm of being human. I mean,
Right,
love is ever expanding, but there is the physical body to be reckoned
right.
with too.
Yeah,
So a constant stream of miracles from the love that is created. I love creating like what we're doing right now. Like
yeah.
I feel that just having this moment with you and being able to love you and you love me
Oh,
back and we love each other for everyone watching us. That's nice.
yeah, that is miraculous. And if for somebody that's watching or listening and it totally transforms their sexual life and they start to have orgasms and reach out to you and get some of your work, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and there's tons of free stuff. You never even have to buy anything from me. I think that's one of my favorite things about my business is that there's just so much I love to give away. I've written 34 books and programs. So, I've probably give away, I don't know, 20 or 30 different things that are free. So I can meet a person where they are and have
Mm,
something for them that's transforming for them at whatever it is that they need. I've got them. I've got it
mm,
for them. And then they're on the path. Oh,
right.
well, I like little hinges that swing big doors. Tell me where you're stuck. I'll point you in a direction and that'll set you off on a path because you'll have an instant win. I like an
Mm-hmm.
instant win. And as soon as I give you an instant win, you're like, a win, you're like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. All right, what
Right,
else does she have for me? Where do I
right.
go from here? And that's the thing about sexuality is it never ends. It can keep
Never.
getting better your whole life. You can expand your heart. You can
Mm,
expand your pleasure. You expand capabilities. You can expand how many people you love. There's just
yeah.
that's what's nice about it.
It's true. I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways, in some ways, sex is the physical manifestation of love, right? In one aspect of it. And if love is infinite and never ends, so would sexuality in that sense,
Yeah.
where you can always be
As long as
creating that
yeah,
energy.
as long as you keep your genitals in good shape, your body in good shape. You have to take care of
Yes.
your physical body because that is one of the things that happens, as you well know, because that's where
Hmm.
you and I intersect is in the
Right.
physical plane.
The
So
health.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to take good care of yourself to keep that pleasure going.
Yes. And I think that a lot of young people don't realize that as you get older, things start to get squeaky and rusty and dry. It's really important to take care of yourself for sure. Diet,
Yeah.
exercise, all of that.
Yeah.
It's water. I mean, there's so many things about self-care that needs to happen. And I honestly think that it took me until I was 35. I'm 39 now, but 35, I was like, oh, I have to start taking care of my body in a different way. This isn't going to work. Like, I have to be more mindful and have a routine
Yeah.
because things start to break down, unfortunately.
Keep your hormones topped up, keep your
Mm-hmm.
gut flowing, keep your nitric oxide high, take a supplement if you need to, do hormone replacement if you choose to do that. I do, and I love it. Keep yourself hydrated, like you said, and keep having sex. It's use it or lose it.
Mm.
And self-pleasure
Yeah.
counts.
I love it. Well, we're going to end on that note. Thank you so much, Susan. I loved having you on the show. And it's
Thanks,
so
Corinne.
great to learn all these sexual techniques. And how can people find you and get on your website to get some of your juicy information?
A couple good places to find me. The first is personallifemedia.com. That has thousands of articles that I've written over the years on every subject you could possibly imagine. So wherever you are right now, whatever's interesting or whatever's calling to you or whatever your questions are, your problems are, go there and use the search tool and type in anything and you'll get articles. That's a great place. And then they'll lead you to free things, which is nice. And then I also have a video site called betterlover.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got hundreds of videos there. If you're more of a video person, one of my favorites on there is how to make love to a man versus how to make love to a woman. Another one is 20 things I do with my vagina. That one's really cute. That's a fun one. There's so many good videos on that website about everything that I think that's a good place to go to. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Susan Bratton, SUSAN BRATTON. That's more my personal stuff. You'll see pictures of my kids, you'll see pictures of my boobs, like whatever I feel like posting. It's just my silly own little feed. But a lot of people are like, well, who's the woman behind the, the programs? And so that's fun too.
All right. Awesome. Well, go out there and get her information. I know I will.
My kitty is underneath my legs right now, and she's tickling the backs of my thighs with the tip of her tail. She's trying to get my attention because she would like to have some more kitty food. She's tickling me right now.
Oh my God, cats are so funny.
I know. She's like, oh, don't you want to get up and go to the refrigerator and get me some kitty food now?
Well, I'll let you go feed her. Thank you so much.
She says thank you too, Corinne.
Sending you lots of love.
Sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for having me. It was a joy to get to know you better.
Yes.
And I look forward to more. Please let me know how I can be of support to you and all of the people who love you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and tune in on Tuesdays for new episodes. For more information about me, please follow me on Instagram at Corinne J. Camara and my website, CorinneCamara.com. Sending you lots of infinite love.